You want a change. Before you can get that change, you have to change first. In whatever you're doing, if you want something to change, there has to be a reaction for that change to happen. Change for a change. This is what I've got on my heart. So, what I'm about to tell you this evening, as you can see I'm in the dark. I'm in Nigeria, and you know what happened. Just a few minutes ago, the electricity was taken. I think probably, if I have to count it today, it's probably the seventh time that they brought electricity for half an hour, and then they would take it for 2 hours, they would bring it for 10 minutes, they would take it for 4 hours, they would bring it for 3 hours. And this is Nigeria for you. And that is why I want you to understand that if we Nigerians want a change, we have to change. I'll tell you something, and I want you to really digest this critically, okay? I know most of us, in most cases, whenever we are in a situation, a tough situation, especially we Nigerians or Africa in general, the first thing that we do is to start chasing God on what God has already provided for us. When I tell people or when I argue with people, put all the pastors in Nigeria, put them all together. Believe you me, if they fasted for 90 days, prayed for 90 days, the problem that we have in Nigeria will never ever go away. If all the citizens in Nigeria decided to either go to mosque or church, fast for 90 days, pray to God for 90 days, Nigeria's problem will never go away. And I'll tell you the reasons why. Just give me a bit of your time. So every day, a lot of suffering Nigerian people keep going to God, asking God for food, asking God for money for them to pay for their children tuition or schools, asking God for all sort of things. But I want you to understand this. God has already made everything. God is a perfect God. God doesn't make mistake. I want you to get that first. God is not the kind of God that will create, make things happen, and later realizes that it should have been better than that. No, that is not the same kind of God that we are all worshiping. Okay? So where I want you to get it right is that the days that God spent on earth to create this earth, whether you are a Muslim or a Christian, it doesn't matter. What really matters is for you to understand that God never makes mistakes. So when God decided, that decision alone is a huge one, to create the world, God already emphasized and understand and knows the people that I'm going to eventually put on in this world, they will need this, that, this, and that. So I will make sure I provide it for them. Unfortunately, the vision of God for humanity, unfortunately, seems to kind of change. And that is why in the past days, in the years and years and hundreds and thousands of years that passed, God did so many things. At that time, if you offended God, God takes decision there and then. If he has to destroy your whole community, he will destroy them. If he has to destroy a whole country, he will destroy them. And what I want you to understand is that I keep saying God is a perfect God. He makes sure everything is perfect. And I'm going to take it from here. So if you have ever, or if you understand, or if you know what they call trailer, a truck, you know how big a truck is and how long a truck is. Some of those trucks are close to 50 feet. And if you look at that truck, I want you to imagine that truck as the land and water that God created. And I want you to imagine the tiniest knot on that truck, which is not up to the size of your finger. I want you to imagine that tiny knot on that trailer being the size of what the whole world, whether it be Asia, whether America, whether Africa, whether all over the world, okay, all what we have occupied presently is not up to that size of knot in a whole truck size, okay. The rest of that truck is land and water. If you have ever traveled or if you have ever used a plane and you go above the sea level and you go up and up there, if you have the opportunity to look down, you will notice how tiny countries are. You will see a whole country that is massive on the ground. When you get to the top, it becomes tiny. And when you look at the lands from one country to another, it's just endless. So God made sure the land and water that every human being that will ever step their foot on this earth, with the thousands and millions of people that are already gone, and the millions and billions of years that is still coming, that some people take it. Maybe we can say that Christ is coming, or Muhammad is coming, or something, the world is going to end soon, and things like that. We'll wait until that time. But what I'm telling you tonight is that God did not do anything in shortage for you to come back to God and be demanding or asking God for this and that. So God created land, water, that if you people spend 100 billion years on that earth, you will never occupy that size of land. So imagine if all the millions of years that we have been using till now, we have not occupied just a knot on a truck, size of a knot on a truck. That means we still have billions and billions and billions of years for us to spend, and that land or those lands and water will always be there. So no matter the numbers that we become, there will always be land and there will always be water. And whatever you decide to put on those land will germinate, will produce, will grow, and will feed no matter the number of people on earth. You can also imagine a football field. Let me use a football field as well as the truck. If you have watched a football match before, I want you to look at the center cycle. And I want you to imagine or look at that tiny little white cycle where they place the ball to kick off the game. So where the whole world occupies at the moment, we are just about that tiny cycle in the middle of the pitch. You see, all the rest of the pitch is land and water. So God did not do things for you to come back to Him. That is what I am trying to get into you tonight. So if you are having problem with feeding, if you are having problem with finance, if you are having problem with anything like most Nigerians are having today, believe you me, it is not God that you need to go to. Now I'm going to, break it down a little bit further for you to know that God is not responsible for your feeding or for what happens to you. God, I don't want to say God is on vacation, but I want you to look at it tonight. If you have been, or if you go to somebody's house and you keep on knocking. You knocked and knocked and knocked until your knuckles become painful. You carry stone and use the stone to knock the door, bang the door, and there is no answer. 3 things could have happened. 1 is either that person is not at home. That is why nobody opens the door. 2 is either that person has seen you from his window and he knew that this guy that is coming is all this gimme guy. And he has given him as much as he can. But this guy will never stop knocking on his door. So he's looking at him from the window, but he's not opening the door. That is the second reason why you knock, and person will not open the door. Now the third reason is if unfortunately that person has died. If that person has died inside the house, then you can knock and nobody will open because he is dead. Now I want you to look at these 3 scenarios. And I want you to use it for all the years that we have been praying to God. Is either God is not at home, or is either God is tired of us because he has done more than enough for us. And we keep chasing him for what he has already done. So he just turn a blind eye. If una like, mokuna nowhere on our go. If una like, mokuna. So he turn a blind eye. I don't want to say the same thing, the third thing about God, that whether God is dead. I'm just using that as human. But these 3 things are the only things that you look at and you believe that is either this person is not at home, or is either this person don't want to answer me, or is either this person is already dead. If you look at the years and years, the religion that we have in our heads, the Muslims, the Christians, the prayers and everything that we do every single day, does it look as if somebody is listening? Does it look as if God is somewhere answering our prayers? I can understand sometimes when we say, oh, I wake up in the morning. Oh, some other people did not wake up. So thank you, God. And all those kind. No. If you're going to die, you die. If you're not going to die, you live. But it's better for you to live as human than for you to be living as human, but in an animal form. So maybe, just maybe, God decided that I've had enough of these people. God has done everything godly possible to make sure that Nigerians are in good shape. And believe you me, apart from the kinds of leaders that we have, all we need to do is to be thanking God every single day. Every single day, not grumbling. It's just like one of these rich guys, or $10 Dangote. Imagine if Dangote now decided that, okay, I want to retire, and I'm putting all my children in all this my empire. And then Dangote goes and retire, or $10 goes and retire. And every day, those same children that are left with so much keep knocking on his door, asking for food. Do you think he will answer them? Probably that is why it looks as if God is not answering your prayer. Apart from the fact that you wake up in the morning, somebody didn't wake up, and you travel by road from one place to the other, and you got there safely, the other people got accident. I don't believe in all those things. You go to foreign countries. Accidents just don't happen. When you have potholes everywhere, how will accident not happen? So it's not about God. It's not God that saved you. Do you understand? It's just pure luck. And I really mean it. It's just pure luck. Pure luck. If you have lived abroad before, and the road is so flat, so nice, so smooth, Very rarely will you have accidents here and there. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's got nothing to do with God. When you have potholes, you see the drivers on the right are coming to join the drivers on the left. The one on the left are coming to drive, and you are telling me that you got home fine. No, it is your government that are killing you. It's got nothing to do with God. I remember many years ago, I read in a book. I can't remember which part of the world. There's a road that claimed about maybe 400 to 500 people every year. And why is that? Because the road is curvy. It's not that the road is smooth. Oh. If we have those kind of road in Nigeria, wow, we'll be saying, but the road is curvy. And then so many accidents normally happen on this road that claims lives, over 300 lives. Every year, it's there. And what did they do? They decided to make this road a straight road. Dual lane, straight road. They break through the rock. What they didn't do, or what they didn't do many years before. Because of the people, the number of people that are dying, they decided to walk through the rocks. They built a straight, long road. And the following year, after commissioning that road, 9 people alone died. Only 9. That is why you should stop blaming God. Only 9 people died on a road that has been killing close to or over 300 people annually. After fixing the road, making it straight, only 9 people. And out of that 9, from the story I read, I think 5 of them were drunk. So 4, like maybe, okay, it can always happen. So that is why you should not be loading God with fault, blaming God for everything that happens to your life. No. God has done more than enough, particularly for we Nigerians. So what God needs from us is appreciation. You wake up every morning, just keep thanking Him. Even if you don't know why you are thanking Him, just thank Him. Because God has done more than enough. Those people that are holding to what God has done for you, they are the ones that you need to go after. I'm not saying violently. Get your PVC. It might not happen now. It might not happen in the next 5 years. But believe you me, your PVC is your weapon. If you know the story of David and Goliath, if you know that story, David killed Goliath. David is tiny little, something. Goliath is giant. But David killed Goliath. How? David did not just go with bare hands. David has a sling. If you know something we call catapult, you put stone inside, you draw the rubber, you shoot it. That was what David had. God now put power in that sling. And that was how David defeated Goliath. So if you think things are just going to change by itself, it's not going to change. You have to do something for anything to change. Most Nigerians, we are so gullible that we just think that life just goes on. So your own sling should be your PVC. Get your PVC, hide it, put it underneath, keep it somewhere. A time is coming. God is going to raise somebody that is going to change this country. And when God does that, don't be the one to disappoint God because you don't have PVC. Because the governors, the senators who have been paying their stooges and little boys 10,000 to make sure they have their PVC will defeat that one person that God has raised. Because our constitution would have at that time overshadow God's power. So it's not God's power that is going to prevail. It's your PVC. So get your PVC and let us work on this. I'll see you on the next video.